In today's fast-moving world, we often feel like everything is speeding up, pulling us into a rush we didn't ask for. We're constantly told to do more, have more, and be more. But for those of us who have lived through many years and seen life from many angles, there is another way we can choose. This path is called the slow life. It's a gentle approach to living, and while it may sound simple, it holds a power that can truly transform how we experience the world. For us, it can be a way to step back from the noise, the pressure, and the constant demands, and instead focus on what truly brings us peace and meaning. When we talk about slowing down, we're not talking about coming to a full stop. Slowing down means allowing ourselves to be fully present, to enjoy life at a pace that feels right for where we are now. In our youth, we may have felt the need to keep up with the fast-paced society sets. But as we grow older, we've earned the right to choose a slower, more mindful way of living. This shift can open our eyes to things we may have missed before, the moments of beauty that exist in the everyday. We've also learned over the years that material things don't bring lasting happiness. When we were younger, many of us were taught that success was measured by what we owned. But with age comes wisdom, and we've realized that possessions don't equate to fulfillment. It's not about how much we accumulate, but how we feel in our hearts and souls. The world might still be pushing consumerism, but we no longer have to buy into that race. Now is the time to find fulfillment in other places. Choosing to live slower also has a significant impact on our health. Our bodies need time to heal and recover. When we're constantly rushing, we place unnecessary stress on our hearts, on our minds, and on our physical health. But when we slow down, when we give our bodies the rest and care they need, we not only feel better, we thrive. A heart that moves to a slower rhythm is a stronger heart. It allows us to keep our energy longer, preserving it for the things that matter most. Slowing down isn't just about our physical well-being. It's also about nourishing our minds. When we aren't rushing from one thing to the next, we create space for thought, for reflection. We start to notice the small joys in life, the warmth of the sun on our face, the simple pleasure of a quiet morning, or the comfort of a good conversation. These moments are where real joy lives, and they are far more meaningful than any fleeting excitement consumerism might offer. One of the greatest gifts that comes from living a slower life is the way it deepens our relationships. When we aren't constantly focused on what's next, we can be more present with the people we care about. We have the time and energy to listen deeply, to share openly, and to truly connect. It's not about cramming more activities or conversations into our days. It's about savoring the time we do spend with others, making it richer and more meaningful. We often think of aging as a time of slowing down, but perhaps it's time we rethink what that means. Slowing down doesn't mean giving up. It means giving ourselves the chance to live more fully, to experience life with more clarity and purpose. The rush of youth might be behind us, but the depth of experience, of understanding, and of presence is what we have gained. This is a time for us to embrace a different kind of richness, one that doesn't come from doing more, but from being more fully present in what we do. As we look around, we might notice that the world still values speed, productivity, and accumulation. But we don't have to follow that path anymore. We can choose to step out of that race and into a life that honors where we are now. We can choose to live slower, with intention, with care, and with the kind of wisdom that only comes from a lifetime of experience. Slowing down gives us the freedom to live life on our own terms. We've spent years learning, growing, and contributing. Now, we get to enjoy the fruits of that labor in a way that feels peaceful and rewarding. Let's not feel pressured to keep up with the world around us. Instead, let's find joy in living at a pace that suits us, in taking time to enjoy life's simple pleasures, and in spending time with the people who matter most. The slow life isn't just about doing less. It's about doing what's meaningful. It's about choosing quality over quantity, depth over speed. For those of us who have lived through many seasons of life, this approach can offer a profound sense of peace and fulfillment. So, let's embrace the slower pace, knowing that in doing so, we are choosing a life that nourishes us in the most important ways. Once upon a time, in a quaint little town, there lived a woman named Emily. She had just turned 70, a milestone that she greeted with a mixture of gratitude and contemplation. Emily had spent her life bustling from one task to another, juggling her career, family, and community commitments. The world around her had always seemed to move at a breakneck speed, and she had been swept along with it, always striving to do more, achieve more, and be more. As Emily approached her 70th year, something shifted within her. She began to reflect on her life and the choices she had made. While she had a successful career as a school teacher and had raised 2 wonderful children, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. The frantic pace of life had left her feeling exhausted, both physically and emotionally. It was time for a change, she thought. It was time to embrace a different way of living. One sunny afternoon, Emily decided to take a stroll through her neighborhood. She had always enjoyed walking, but in the past it had often been a hurried affair, squeezed in between errands or appointments. This time, however, she set out with no particular destination in mind. As she wandered, she took the time to notice the world around her. The vibrant colors of the flowers lining the sidewalks caught her eye, and she paused to breathe in their sweet fragrance. She smiled at the children playing in the park, their laughter ringing out like music. As Emily continued her walk, she found herself drawn to the small local bookstore she had often passed but never entered. Today, she felt a sense of curiosity and stepped inside. The moment she entered, the familiar scent of old books wrapped around her like a warm hug. The owner, a friendly older gentleman named Mr. Thompson, greeted her with a smile. They struck up a conversation about their favorite authors, and Emily felt a spark of connection that had been missing from her life for too long. They talked about books, stories, and the joy of reading, and she left the store that day with a novel in hand and a newfound sense of excitement. In the days that followed, Emily made it a point to slow down her pace in all aspects of her life. She started her mornings with a cup of tea on her porch, watching the sunrise paint the sky in beautiful hues. Instead of rushing through breakfast, she took her time, savoring each bite. She began to prioritize activities that brought her joy. Emily joined a local knitting group, where she made new friends and found comfort in the repetitive motions of knitting, each stitch bringing her a sense of peace. One weekend, Emily decided to organize a potluck dinner for her friends and neighbors. In the past, she would have worried about perfection, about the food, the decor, and the atmosphere. But this time, she approached it with a spirit of joy and connection. She invited everyone to bring their favorite dish and emphasized that it was about coming together, not about impressing anyone. As the evening unfolded, laughter filled the room, stories were shared, and bonds were strengthened. Emily felt a warmth in her heart that had long been absent, a deep sense of fulfillment that came from the simple act of being present with others. As the months passed, Emily's life transformed in ways she never anticipated. She learned to appreciate the beauty in small moments, like the sound of rain tapping against her window, the taste of freshly baked bread, and the quiet comfort of a good book. She found joy in gardening, spending hours tending to her flowers and vegetables, watching them grow and flourish under her care. Each moment spent in her garden became a meditation, a reminder that life is not a race, but a journey to be savored. Emily also began volunteering at a local community center where she helped organize activities for children and the elderly. Through her interactions with the younger generation, she rediscovered her passion for teaching. She found joy in sharing stories, playing games, and simply being present with those around her. Her heart swelled with happiness each time she saw a child light up with excitement over a new idea or a simple act of kindness. One day, while volunteering, Emily met a young girl named Lily, who reminded her of herself at that age. Curious, bright-eyed, and full of questions. Emily took Lily under her wing, sharing stories of her life, the importance of slowing down, and the beauty of enjoying each moment. Together, they explored the world of art, painting vibrant pictures that captured their imaginations. Emily found that through teaching Lily, she was also learning more about herself. She rediscovered the joy of creativity and the power of connection across generations. As the seasons changed, Emily realized that living slowly had given her a sense of purpose and joy that she had long forgotten. She had transformed from a woman who felt overwhelmed and rushed to one who embraced life with open arms. The frantic pace she once knew had been replaced with a sense of calm and contentment. She understood that life is not measured by the number of tasks completed or the goals achieved, but by the moments that take our breath away, the laughter shared, the connections made, and the love given and received. One crisp autumn afternoon, Emily sat on her porch, a warm blanket wrapped around her shoulders, watching the leaves dance in the wind. She reflected on her journey of slowing down and how it had changed her life. The simple act of living with intention had opened doors she never knew existed. She felt grateful for the relationships she had nurtured, the experiences she had embraced, and the joy she had rediscovered. Emily realized that by choosing to live slowly, she had not only enriched her own life, but had also inspired others to do the same. Friends and family began to notice the change in her, drawn to her warmth and newfound energy. They began to seek out moments of connection in their own lives, sharing meals, laughter, and stories, just as Emily had encouraged. In the heart of her little town, Emily became a beacon of what it means to live fully, even in the later chapters of life. She embraced the slow life, and in doing so, she discovered that the most profound treasures lie not in what we achieve, but in how we choose to experience the world around us. Each day became an opportunity to savor the sweetness of life, and Emily's heart was fuller than ever, brimming with gratitude for every moment, every connection, and every breath she took. We have a remarkable opportunity to choose a different path, a slower, more deliberate way of living. Embracing this pace isn't just a preference, it's a conscious decision to reclaim our lives and prioritize what truly matters. We all deserve a life filled with joy, peace, and meaningful connections. By slowing down, we can appreciate the beauty around us and the moments that make life special. Let's take a moment to reflect on the power of decluttering, not only in our physical spaces, but also in our minds and hearts. A few years ago, a decision was made to simplify life by downsizing from a larger home to a much smaller one, a narrowboat to be exact. If you're familiar with narrowboats, you know they don't allow for much excess. The process of choosing what to keep and what to let go was not easy, and at first it felt overwhelming. However, as items were removed from the space, a wonderful lightness began to emerge, both physically and emotionally. This journey of simplifying our surroundings has profound implications. Even if a move isn't in our future, we can all benefit from clearing out the clutter that weighs us down, leading to a clearer mind and a more focused spirit. Now, let's consider the culture we live in, where consumerism reigns supreme. Engaging with capitalism can be valuable, but we must be cautious. Problems arise when we fall into the trap of consuming for the sake of consumption. With age comes wisdom, and we start to see that life isn't measured by the latest smartphone or the trendiest attire. Instead, it's the experiences we cherish, the relationships we nurture, and the moments we take to reflect that hold true significance. Choosing a life of simplicity in this complex world may seem countercultural, yet there is immense beauty in that choice. When we liberate ourselves from the incessant need for possessions, we begin to appreciate life in a way that brings genuine joy. As we mature, the sources of our happiness often become beautifully uncomplicated. Simple pleasures, such as savoring a cup of tea, sharing laughter with friends, or observing the grace of birds flitting about, emerge as the true treasures of life. These moments provide a richness that material possessions simply cannot replicate. Even after we consciously decide to embrace a slower lifestyle, we will still encounter temptations from the pull of consumerism. The good news is that as we practice resisting these urges, it becomes more manageable. Over time, the desire to continually acquire fades, allowing us to focus on what genuinely brings fulfillment. When we shift our focus away from accumulating things, we create space in our lives, both literally and metaphorically. That space can be filled with activities that ignite our passions and bring us joy, whether it's picking up a new hobby or spending quality time with family. Choosing to live differently may not be without its challenges. There will be times when we feel misunderstood or isolated, but we must remember that this discomfort is often fleeting. The rewards of living a more intentional life, filled with simplicity, are incredibly profound. Opting for a slower pace doesn't equate to doing less. Rather, it means prioritizing what truly counts. By stripping away the non-essentials, we discover what is genuinely important to us. We begin to direct our energy toward experiences that bring joy, purpose, and fulfillment. This shift in focus allows us the freedom to craft our lives in a way that resonates deeply with our true selves, unencumbered by societal pressures. Living slowly also opens the door to enhanced health and well-being. We can dedicate time to nourishing our bodies through wholesome meals, mindful movement, and rest. By tuning in to what we need, we learn to care for ourselves in ways that feel right. Embracing this slower lifestyle is a beautiful act of self-love, an acknowledgement that we are deserving of attention and care. A slower lifestyle fosters deeper connections with those around us. With more time to engage in heartfelt conversations, share laughter, and simply be present with loved ones, we strengthen our relationships. In a society that often prioritizes speed, choosing to slow down allows us to cultivate the bonds that enrich our lives. These moments of connection remind us that life is not just about the hustle. It's about the shared experiences that fill our hearts with joy. We become more attuned to the natural world. The rustle of leaves in the wind, the warmth of sunlight on our skin, these experiences can ground us and bring us back to the present. Nature has its own rhythm, and when we align ourselves with it, we discover a profound sense of peace. The world is alive, vibrant, and waiting for us to notice its beauty. Make a collective choice to embrace this slower pace. Let's carve out time for the things that genuinely bring us joy, for the relationships we cherish, and for the experiences that make life worthwhile. By reclaiming our time, energy, and sense of peace, we create a life that is rich, not in possessions, but in moments that matter. We can foster a lifestyle that emphasizes quality over quantity, and in doing so, we can find deeper meaning and fulfillment in every aspect of our lives. This is the life we all deserve, filled with richness, purpose, and connection. We all know that one of the greatest rewards of embracing a slower lifestyle is the financial freedom it brings. When we step back from the constant cycle of purchasing things we don't really need, we start to see a shift. By choosing not to chase after every trend or material desire, We begin to save money for the things that truly hold meaning in our lives. It's not about what we didn't buy or the latest fashion we skipped over. What stays with us are the moments of connection, the quiet times, and the peace that comes with knowing we're living in line with our true values. Living slowly, especially in today's fast-paced society, can seem like a daunting task. We're bombarded with expectations from every direction: work, technology, even social standards that push us to move faster. But there's something powerful about choosing to step off that conveyor belt. For many of us, especially as we grow older, this shift can bring immense peace and fulfillment. Embracing a slower pace allows us to reflect more deeply on our journey, appreciate the simple pleasures, and connect more meaningfully with those around us. One of the key benefits of slowing down is that we can finally prioritize presence over productivity. In our culture, there's often this unspoken rule that being busy equals being successful. But does it really? When we constantly chase after tasks, we often lose sight of what matters most. Imagine instead taking moments each day to simply be present. Maybe it's sitting quietly with a cup of tea, enjoying the warmth of the sun on our face, or fully engaging in a hobby that brings us joy. These are the moments that nourish our soul, that remind us life is not about always doing. Sometimes it's about just being. For those of us in our later years, the gift of reflection becomes all the more precious. It's in these slower moments that we get to look back on our life's journey with gratitude. We stop focusing on what we didn't achieve or what we don't have, and instead, we cherish the relationships, the memories, the small joys that have filled our days. This is the true wealth of living slowly, understanding that the richness of life comes not from how much we accumulate, but from how deeply we experience each moment. One area where slowing down can have a profound impact is in our relationship with technology. We live in a world where information is constantly coming at us, our phones, the internet, social media. But as elders, we have the wisdom to recognize that life was full and meaningful long before these distractions existed. Setting boundaries with technology is a simple yet powerful way to reclaim our time and attention. Maybe we set aside parts of the day where the phone stays off, or we choose to spend more time outdoors, reading, or engaging in creative activities. Disconnecting from technology doesn't just help us find peace, it helps us reconnect with ourselves and with the people around us in a more genuine way. When we're not constantly checking our screens or caught up in the latest news, we're more present in our interactions. We can listen more deeply, engage more fully, and truly appreciate the company of others. This is something we can teach the younger generations. By example, that sometimes the most meaningful connections happen when we put the devices down and look up. Another gift of a slower life is the space it creates for mindfulness. By choosing not to rush through our days, we become more aware of the little things. The sound of the wind rustling through the trees, the smell of fresh coffee in the morning, the way the light changes at sunset. These small moments, when noticed and appreciated, bring a quiet joy that's easy to overlook when we're moving too fast. Living slowly invites us to savor these moments, to be fully present for them, and to allow them to fill us with gratitude. Letting go of the need to always be productive is also key to embracing a slower life. Society often pushes us to measure our worth by how much we do, how busy we are, or how much we achieve. But what if we shifted our focus to being rather than doing? By allowing ourselves the time to simply sit, breathe, and reflect, we give ourselves permission to live more fully. We let go of the pressure to perform, and in doing so, we open ourselves to a deeper sense of peace and contentment. As we grow older, there's a beautiful freedom that comes with no longer feeling the need to keep up with the rush of the world. We begin to see that life is not a race, and there's no prize for hurrying to the finish line. The prize is in the journey itself, the slow, steady, mindful journey that allows us to truly see and appreciate the beauty all around us. Living slowly doesn't mean doing less. It means living more fully, more deeply, and more in tune with the rhythm of life. Living a slow life is about creating a legacy of simplicity and mindfulness. It's about showing those around us, especially the younger generation, that success isn't about how much we have or how fast we move. It's about how deeply we love, how mindfully we live, and how much we appreciate the blessings we already possess. Let us all strive to leave behind a legacy of peace, presence, and gratitude, a reminder that the best things in life are often the simplest. As we enter this new chapter, we experience a natural evolution in our energy, priorities, and perspectives. Society often bombards us with messages about how we should live, fast, busy, and constantly on the go. But we have the power to redefine our own pace. Instead of feeling pressured to conform to the hectic rhythm of the world around us, we can embrace a tempo that feels right for us. We have the opportunity to choose a lifestyle that resonates with our current needs and desires. Living slowly does not indicate surrender. Rather, it is an empowering choice that enables us to direct our attention to what genuinely brings us joy. The world tends to glorify busyness, making us believe that our worth is tied to how much we accomplish. Yet, true fulfillment comes from engaging in activities that align with our values. It's time we liberate ourselves from the notion that being busy equates to being productive. By prioritizing rest, reflection, and meaningful interactions, we can cultivate a life that nourishes our spirit and fosters deeper connections. Take a moment to consider your own life. Are there commitments or routines that you maintain simply because they've become habitual? It might be time to reevaluate those aspects. Reflecting on what brings us genuine happiness is a vital part of this process. We don't have to cling to obligations that no longer serve us. Instead, let's focus on the activities that make our hearts sing and remind us of what truly matters. By shifting our focus, we create space for experiences that enrich our lives. Let's also think about the concept of simplification. The world around us can often feel overwhelming, filled with noise and clutter. This chaotic environment can weigh heavily on our mental and physical well-being. Taking the initiative to declutter our surroundings, both materially and mentally, can lead to a profound sense of peace. We should ask ourselves what items or commitments we can release to create a serene environment. This doesn't mean sacrificing comfort. It means intentionally crafting a space that reflects tranquility and supports our well-being. We can enhance our mental clarity by practicing gratitude. Embracing gratitude shifts our mindset from scarcity to abundance. When we focus on what we have, rather than fixating on what we lack, we cultivate contentment. This practice encourages us to step away from the relentless pursuit of more, allowing us to appreciate the beauty of the present moment. Instead of being caught in a cycle of wanting, we learn to savor the richness of our current lives. It's essential to cultivate patience and self-compassion. Transitioning to a slower pace is a significant adjustment, and it's perfectly normal to experience some discomfort along the way. We must remember to be gentle with ourselves during this transition. Life is not a race, and we don't need to adhere to anyone else's expectations. We should honor our unique journeys and appreciate that every step we take, no matter how small, is a meaningful stride toward a fulfilling life. Let's celebrate every little achievement on this path. Whether it's taking a few moments to enjoy a favorite book or deciding to say no to an obligation that doesn't resonate with us, each choice contributes to our well-being. Over time, these small acts accumulate, leading us toward a lifestyle that reflects our true selves. We may find that we're living in a way that aligns with our current priorities, not those imposed upon us by the outside world. Additionally, embracing a slower pace allows us to open our hearts to more joy and connection. When we step away from the relentless pace of life, we create space to engage with our loved ones on a deeper level. We begin to notice the beauty in everyday moments. The laughter shared with friends, the warmth of a family gathering, or the simple pleasure of watching a sunset. These connections enrich our lives in ways that busyness can never replicate. Then, choosing to live at our own pace, simplifying our surroundings, and practicing kindness towards ourselves is a transformative journey. It nurtures our physical well-being and feeds our souls. We create a life that feels authentic and meaningful, one that resonates with who we are in this moment. So let's embrace this opportunity to live deliberately, finding peace, fulfillment, and joy in every step we take. We deserve nothing less.